Hey folks, earlier today, the 7th of April, 2025, many of my viewers came on the program and mentioned that Nota Boloye, the gentleman famously known now for calling for the slaughter of white South Africans and also claiming that white South Africans are genetically inferior to black South Africans or to black folks generally, and also that white women are incapable of bearing children because their hips are structured improperly, and a whole host of other ridiculous nonsense. That gentleman apparently issued an apology on the Hustler's Corner SA podcast with Nota Mondays. Well, I had a chance to listen to that apology and see what it was all about. He mentioned Rob Hersalf. Someone said he mentioned me, but I didn't hear that in there. Nota Mondays, South African Human Rights Commission apology. Now, the apology came at the end of a 2-hour and 5-minute live stream. So it took a while to get to the apology. Now, the problem, aside from the apology itself, which he read on air, is that he laughed after he finished reading it, clearly indicating that contrary to the claim in his apology, he learned nothing from his actions. He immediately rubbished the apology by using a qualifier, stating that if folks misunderstood his words or intent, he meant no harm. Balderdash. Nope. His words and his racial insults were quite clear. No one misunderstood him, and he knew full well what he was saying. It is a disingenuous apology, folks. The guy is still stuck on race. He keeps talking about white people as if the 2 billion plus white folks on this planet are all the same. He acts as if only white people are guilty of bad behavior by making repeated silly comments while ignoring the crimes of others like Pol Pot in Kampuchea, Shaka Zulu in KwaZulu-Natal, Genghis Khan across the Asian plains, and endless others. In West Africa, the Ashanti, Yoruba, and Bono states, among others, as well as the Nyamwezi and Imbangala states in Central Africa, sold Africans into slavery. More recently, we have the Rwandan genocide, the war crimes of Ethiopia and Tigray, the jihadists in the Sahel. Bad behavior is human, Nota, not white. He also misleads the uninformed, making inappropriate comments about how white people claim to have introduced civilization to blacks when all they did was introduce industrialization. Factually incorrect on 2 counts. First, whites arrived in Africa long before the industrial period of the 19th century. In fact, in South Africa, this occurred in the mid-17th century, a full 200 years prior. Whites did not bring civilization to Africa, but that, of course, is his point. They just brought different versions of civilization. Folks, Africa has long had successful civilizations, kingdoms, empires, but Nota is trying to insult white folks by implying that, well, we don't know this. Now, the problem is, his point is not exactly a newsflash. Axum, Carthage, ancient Egypt, Kush, and well-known West African states like Mali, Ghana, and Songhai all had successful and powerful civilizations across Africa for centuries. Heck, there was even great Zimbabwe in southern Africa in the Middle Ages. Well, it appears that this might be his punishment from the South African Human Rights Commission. If so, it will prove once again that the organization is not legitimate. Nota called white people genetically inferior to blacks. There is no way to define that other than as racist and intentionally demeaning to the targeted audience. He also claimed to be more erudite in English than white folks. Now, that's a pretty bold claim for a dude who repeatedly stumbled through his typed apology. If this is the extent of the South African Human Rights Commission's concerns, yet they doggedly pursue Ronald Khuz over a 15-year-old video because he was insensitive, they have strained all credibility about what their mission is. Clearly, their mission is not to protect human rights when a dude openly calls for the slaughter, his word, not mine, openly calls for the slaughter of white people and then being driven into the sea. Hasn't their dignity been offended? Isn't that racially harmful? Aren't those words something that damage the minds and the mindset, the psyche of white people in South Africa to be threatened like this? South African Human Rights Commission, where are you? And why are you still pursuing Ronald Khuz? Is this all you're going to do in this case? Look, Nota Boloye can say what he wants. I believe in free speech. But free speech comes with responsibility, and he was very irresponsible. But what we normally do is shun people like that in polite society. Of course, South Africa has laws to punish transgressors because South Africa is not a free speech nation. It doesn't believe in free speech or liberty. It believes in controlling speech if it hurts certain people's ears. Well, what he said was just as harmful as anything that a white racist says. So why isn't he being punished? We know why. We know why. Shame on you, South African Human Rights Commission. Shame on you. It's time for South Africa to end this stupid hate speech nonsense. people say stupid things, just ignore them, ostracize them, keep them out of polite company. It's not the role of the state to punish people for their words. It is if their actions are wrong. What say you, South Africa? Disingenuous apology? Certainly. Cheers.